Okay, so hi everyone, welcome to the session. So once again, all of you have a very good going day, good day. So today, what we are going to cover is completely pandas. We are going to cover. So today I will end the pandas concept because the last day I had just given you the brief introduction and also has seen some of the data analysis point of thing. And now what we are going to do is complete implementation of data analysis and all the five important steps that we are going to cover today. Okay, what are the five important topics? So why we need to learn pandas means, first of all, here I just given you the bullet points, uh, just going through that. So first of all, we need to read the data and we have to explore the data, we have to do operations on the data, we have to manipulate the data, and we can also go for visualization of the data and to get the insights of the data. Those are the five steps are involved. If you want to do the data analysis, okay, then you need these five steps. If you want to do these five steps, then you need one library that is called pandas. Okay, so why we do require pandas means this is the answer. You have to do the data analysis. In order to do that, you need a library, effective library, not a simple library. Effective library where all these steps can be covered. Okay. So one such library is Pandas. Using Pandas, we can read any type of data. Here data means there are three types. I already explained you on the last day. There are structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. Remember these things because you are going to become a data scientist, right, in coming days. Then definitely you should aware of in what ways the data can be stored. Okay, if you wait a second, somebody has joined. Let me in that person. Yeah, Gyanesh is here. Hi Gyanesh, we just started the class. Okay, okay, cool. um So, yeah, where I was is data. I'm explaining the data because you're going to become a data scientist in very, very new, I mean, very near. You have to understand that in what ways people can store data, or else in what way you can get the data. Okay. So, as a data scientist, let us consider you are a data scientist. Then, first thing is you will be given a data set. So the data set can be in any three forms, either structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. What do you mean by structured? When structure is something like it will be having a very clear information. For example, it will have how many rows are there, how many columns are there, similar to your Excel sheet. If you aware of Excel sheet, the data set is in Excel sheet and CSV or database management system. I mean DB table. So there, how exactly the data was stored, it is the same like that. That is what structured. Semi-structure. What is semi-structure? I will show you one example of XML, extended markup language. This is called XML data set example. Okay, XML example. This is semi-structured data. Here, structure will be there, but not as good as like structure. So let me show you node.xml. XML is one good example. Here you can see, hope my screen is visible, right? Is it visible, right? Clearly. This is an example.
Yes, Ashwin.
Yeah, thanks for confirming. So it is an example. Okay. Note is there. See tags, it ended with tag. Okay. And here some information is being conveyed like to Johnny, reminder is a heading one, body is a body. This is the, HTML tags way. That is why HTML also can be considered as semi-structured data. XML is also called as semi-structured data. Okay, and see XML and HTML obviously so close to each other. XML is extended markup language, that is hypertext, right? Markup language. So and also if you knew about JSON, okay. So JSON. So don't worry, this JSON term you will hear a lot in upcoming sessions, especially in generative AI sessions, because it is always a good practice if you can get the data in JSON file. So this is the way. Don't confuse. This may be look like your dictionary, Python dictionary. Yes, exactly. It looks like a dictionary where you will be having a key and a value. But this is called a JSON way of storing the data. And this is called as JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Orient Notation. Okay. So what is a JSON means JavaScript object notation. Then it is a lightweight data interchange format, and there is a lot to learn in JSON. Okay. So why use JSON and all? You can just have a look in the website. So this JSON is also semi-structured data. What is the other format is unstructured data. Unstructured data is nothing but will not have any structure. Examples of unstructured data are images, videos, or text data. Okay, these are all unstructured data. So, for example, whatever you are seeing in the system or in the website, these are all built by the HTML and related things, right? Here, there you can see it is having some structure. Then this is not a unstructured. Okay, unstructured is simply like, for example, if I take any notepad, here I'm storing this something information. Let me store some information. For example, hello students, how are you? This is a pure text data. This data is unstructured because this doesn't have any structure. Here I am not mentioning that what exactly hello is, what students is, or else I am not framing any useful information attaching to this. That is why it is called as unstructured data. Got it? So there are always three types of data sets. So you have to identify which exact data set it is, and then you have to know which function in Pandas will help you to read that particular data. Is reading the data concept clear? May I know, everyone?
Yes, Ashwin.
Very good. Correct. What happened to this? Yeah. So what about others? I hope it is clear, right? Reading the data. Okay, let me in the other person. Array. Wait a second, it is playing with me. Okay. So one more thing I would like to convey. If you have any doubt in between, okay, Samreen just joined. Okay. So if you have any doubt, because this concept is very, very important, folks. If you feel any concept is doubtful or confusing, please raise your hand so that I will get to know when you are having a problem or you are having a confusion or doubt. Okay. So don't keep it silence, because this concept is very, very important, because everyone is interested in your domain, right? I mean, sorry, you have your own interested domain. The same concept, whatever I'm going to explain, you have to implement in your domain. That is the case study one I'm going to give today. Okay. So that is the reason. Like reading the data is clear. Then explore the data. Explore the data is simply, I will not take much time explaining all these steps in detail because these steps were already covered in the last class. Those who missed the last class, for to you guys, I'm just briefing out the concepts. Okay. Second step is explore the data. Explore the data is simply you have to know what is there in the data. Okay. What is there in the data? That is what exploration. Okay, the data has how many rows, the data has how many columns, the data is having any null values or any unnecessary information or not. These are all exploration. Features, simply like features, exploring the features. For example, if I provide you a brand new smartphone, if I ask you to explore this smartphone, what will you do? You just will check the software, hardware capability. What is the RAM? What is the ROM? What is the processor? What is the camera strength? What is the feature of camera, front, back, pixels? And you will take random pictures and check the quality. These are all no. Taking the pictures and checking, that is what the operation. But you will just explore what is the quality, what is the specifications, what are the charging point, and where is the charging point. These are all exploration. And operations means something like, you know, directly some information we cannot get out of the data by just exploring. We have to apply an external feature or external operation to get the useful information out of it. For example, it will mention you, the phone will mention you 50 megapixel rear camera, for 15 megapixel front camera. So it will just mention you, but you have to take the picture and then analyze the quality out of it, right? They will not provide you by default some images, and these are the front images, back images, right? So you have to do that as an operation and to check that whether the quality is right or not. And then you have to decide, okay, this is just a 40 megapixel camera strength, and this is not exactly same as 50 megapixel camera's picture. This is how you have to do analyze whenever you want to do analyzing or something like that. Operations we have to go for. What type of operations, Ashwan? Aggregative operations, especially. This is very important term. Okay, make it as a note. Aggregative functions means you are going to conclude the data in single format. In Python, we learned about reduce, right? In reduce, what we are doing, we are just doing, summing or averaging all the data, and we are coming up with a small number, one single value. Here also we do aggregations. Aggregations examples are sum. Sum is an aggregative function where we aggregate the result and we'll come up with a single value. We don't talk about all the data individual points. Instead, we will talk about sum. Similarly, average, mean, median, these are all aggregative functions, minimum, maximum. Okay, these are all aggregative functions. All such functions, if we want to do, we need to do operations. Okay. Second, then visualization. On the other day, I just provided you one graph and then asked you one simple question. Okay, of course, you answered me correctly. So that means that by looking at the data, we may not conclude the data points or we may not analyze it in a better way. We need to know how to analyze the data using charts so that it will really help us to get the better analytical data or to get the better results out of the data. So if you perform all four steps, you will achieve the fifth step, that is called generate insights. Ultimate goal of the analysis is what we have to get the useful information out of it. Okay. So for example, in the industry, how the work will distribute is, so let us consider a job. Okay. So what we are going to do in very new near. Assume that you are a data scientist. Then what type of tasks will be given is you will be given a statements or goal. You will be given one clear statement. For example, let me consider one of your names. So for example, Mushraf. So let me consider as your boss. Okay. I will come to you and will ask you. So Mushraf, we are going to work on a medical data set, and I want you to get the patient details. So which patients are having age between 35 years to 40 years? That is first question I will straight away will ask you. The second question is, Mushraf, so what is the ratio of male to female? How many males are there? How many females are there? The third thing is, Prajwal, like how many people got affected with diabetes? How many people are not? Then I will ask Samreen. So see, Samreen. So out of disease affected or out of diabetes affected patients, how many are females and again how many are male? Okay, then I will ask Jnanesh. So, out of the diabetes, for example, some people are getting affected by diabetes. Then, out of this diabetes people, how many of them are having smoking habit? Okay, so this is the way I will directly ask you the questions. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to do analysis. You will be given directly a data set to you, the in a form of any way, either structured, semi-structured or unstructured. You have to pre-process the data and then you have to analyze, okay, which function I have to use to read the data first and then to explore the data first, to do operations on the data, what type of functions are there, to analyze the data, what visualize the data, what how I can visualize. You have, if you do the four steps, then the fifth step is insights. Insights is all about answers to my questions. Is that clear? Is this point clear? How the real world problem statement will be? Is that clear?
Yes, Ranjit.
Very good, very good. So this is how, the real world will be. Okay, then what is the next step, Ashwant? Once we provided all the answers, what is the next step? Then I will go to Ranjit. See, these are the results what we have. So then what you have to do is you have to build a machine learning project to me, so that I will provide you the patient details. Then the machine learning will predict this whether the person will have the diabetes or not next. So how will Ranjit going to directly build a machine learning means Ranjit will get to know that already the analytical part is over. The questions are answered correctly. Then machine learning actually he will provide the right information to the machine. See, diabetes. If a person is diabetes means age is something like this. This is an important feature. Consider this feature, and region is not so important. So where exactly the person is region, central region or south region or north region, that is doesn't make any sense when it comes to diabetes. Of course it may be considered in some of the parts of the world, but in a city it is not a big factor. He consider, okay, it is not important to the machine, I will remove it, something like that. It will help Ranjit, like Ranjit, like means a machine learning engineer, to consider the right set of features. Okay, then like who is left? We consider, okay, Gauri Priya. At the end, once he Ranjit completed the machine learning model, then that information will be given to the Gauri Priya. Then Gauri Priya will build a nice front end application or a mobile app or any Apple app. Okay, then she will integrate the machine learning knowledge with the user provided information. Okay, so overall this can be called as a data science project. Then what is an AI here means, for example, who is other than Gauri Priya covered, Ranjit covered, Samreen covered, Prajwal covered, or Mushraf. Okay, let me consider myself. Okay, Yashwant, then what you can do is there you can use LLM concept to auto consider all these features, to automate the entire process, where a user can log into the website, whatever website was built by Gauri Priya, and their user will provide all the information, and user having many questions. Okay, so like why I got the diabetes? User asked the question. Then AI can answer you or can explain you the process. Okay, this is the reason, sir, you are getting a diabetes. You have to cut down the insulin. You have to cut down the sugar. You have to cut down, you have to cut down the carbohydrates. Rather, you can go for walking or jogging, or you can increase your metabolism, or you can do this. Your weight is so much. So these are the reasons why you are getting diabetes. But don't worry, you are in the starting stage. Consult his doctor. Then AI will recommend you or will suggest you the doctors, and doctors' offices will be getting crowded because of the patients. Then doctors can make money, and the application will get money from the doctors and from other sources, or many money can be created out of this. Is it completely clear, like how what is the end-to-end life cycle of the project? Okay, so this is how end-to-end data science or AI, whatever you consider, projects will be. So there are, now tell me, what will be the scope of, what is the scope right now, scope, or what can be the future of the scope? There is a lot of scope of AI or data science and data analysis. But in order to achieve the final step, everyone should know how to do analysis first. If you want to do analysis best, then you have to know the basics and clear idea you have to have on the domain. Got it? So today we are going to learn the data analysis with domain knowledge, not the in-depth domain knowledge, a basic domain knowledge. That basic domain knowledge, whatever the way I'm going to cover in this session, that will definitely help you. You can implement the same logic, same way on your own domain means your own interested domain, so that it will help you to expand your memory, I mean expand your brain or expand your capability to do better analysis. Got it? Okay, so in order to use pandas, first of all we have to import pandas properly. Okay, so this is the way how we can import pandas. It is simply like NumPy. The way how we use NumPy, import NumPy as NP. Those who did not practice Python and NumPy, please do practice ASAP, as soon as possible, because you will not get enough time in going days. because you have to practice visualizations, you have to practice machine learning, deep learning, computer vision basics also there, and natural language processing, very important topic that requires a lot of practice, and even AI requires obviously a lot of practice. So that is why don't waste time. So whenever time permits, you dedicate yourself to learn for at least half an hour to 1 hour is more than enough. Okay. Okay, so we know how to create a array. In Pandas, actually, we are having two different type of data collections. One is series. Anyway, this is not very popular. This is not actually we use it in real time in creating data sets because it is series. Remember, series always can help us to create single dimension data. So now tell me in real time, is there any data set is useful to us which is one dimensional data? One dimensional data means it is having only one column. No, very less use cases having data sets with one column, right? Most of the data sets are having more than one column. That is the reason why we don't use series much. Then why we are learning H1? This is the concept existing with pandas. We have to learn and understand. Then what is the benefit H1 then? In that case, okay, for example, if you want to create five different columns, then you can create five different series and you can club all them to create one two-dimensional data. That is what data frame. Okay, that is what data frame. This is what the data frame. In this data frame, what we have done, we used the series to create a data frame. Is that clear? In this way, we can use series, but mostly we use data frame to create multi-dimensional data. Multi-dimensional data means two-dimensional. Two-dimensional means don't think that it will have two columns. It is kind of row column. Okay, so it will have fixed number of rows. It will have fixed number of n columns. That is called two-dimensional data. Got it? Then three-dimensionals means two-dimensional such things are will be three. Are GB, red, green, blue in image, if you consider. That is what three-dimensional data. Okay. Here it is only two-dimensional data. Okay. So we just, given you the various examples how to create a data frame. Please explore once I share the document today. Whoever missed day before yesterday, it is very easy. How exactly I just created, I have given you some examples. I even considered your names also. Now what I'm going to do is here at this point of time, I just asked the people who can come up with me the right function to help me to get the desired output. There, yeah, Mustaf has given me. Thank you for that. So now I will use the same choice choice. So here I can mention instead of choice. What random int can give me means random integers only can give me. But I need a floating point. That is why I just asked the team to provide me. Okay, oops, here let me generate this. uh, we are getting a value error means hmm, weight is 50 to 70. No, it is not between 50 to 70. It is 0 also came. Maybe choice. We have to go through again. Mushraf, have you checked, Mushraf?
Right. I used uniform, but you're using
Acha,
choice.
acha, choice. Acha, sorry. Uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it, got it, got it, got it. Choice is only between those things. Yeah, I got it. Uniform. Thanks correcting me. Now let me use this. Okay. Here, yeah, very good. We can even use round off because obviously we should use round because here you can see after point we don't require these many points, right? We can use many things. Either we can use seal also. Seal means next integer it will automatically round off. Floor means it will get reduced to the previous round. Round means simple how many integers, I mean how many points after point, how many integers we want to select, those many. Here anything can be used. We can use the direct function called round. Mention 2. Let us check height. No, np dot round is also there. Yeah, got it. So the same way I will use np dot roun math dot round also there. In math is also another Python function that can also use it. Okay, we just need to get the effective function. Here we can see the data set. Let me show you how we created a small data set considering your names, ages, and all. So this is randomly generated ages in between 23 to 26. Five people we just considered because those like last class only four people were attended, including me. Five. Okay, heights and weights. We just took it from this range 50 to 70 and 150 to 166 size, sorry, height. Okay, in centimeters or sorry, in meters or whatever it may be, in centimeters only. Yeah, height in centimeters we provide. It is better. Centimeters. Yeah. So this is the way how you can create a simple data frame using our data. Once we create the data set, if you want to store it to the local or if you want to provide the data set to someone, then you can store it to either Excel or CSV, whatever the format you want. You have to use the effective function. If you want to store the data to Excel, then you can use to Excel, then mention the name, whatever the name you want to give. And don't forget to use the extension. If you don't forget the, I mean, if you forget the extension, then you will not get the desired format. You will get an error also. Okay, that is the reason you should give the extension also. Once you click here, you can see your data will get stored here, and you can even download that file also. Okay, we covered that, and also different ways to create the data frames. Just explore this one. I already told you how to create series, and the same way we just used to create data frame out of series, and also using dictionary also how to do also explored. Please do explore. Once I provided you, it is all basic things only. Where it is really easy to understand. Okay. Finally, it is very important to how to read the data set from external sources. For example, we are using Google Colab. So how can we read the data set here from local machine to here means you can use the upload button and you can first upload the data set to the Colab, then get the path. Here you can see three dots are there, right? Next to it. Copy the path and provide the path here. Okay. Once you provide the path, and this is a CSV file. How can I know, sir? CSV. Here you can see the extension CSV. Okay, it is a CSV file. That is why I should use the function called read underscore CSV. If it is Excel file, I should use the function called read underscore Excel and then provide the path inside the function. Then if you just print the variable of the data, then you can see this is the same data set what we are using locally. Got it? Just I will show you. Data Science 101, NumPy and Pandas. Okay, this is the same data set what we are going to use for analyzing. Got it? So first task is completed, how to read the data, right? So same way if you are reading any database table, okay, for example, the data set is there in database, we want to read that as a data frame. Then what you have to know is you have to know connectors. Okay. Now I'm not covering that concept, but I'm just explaining you. In future, if you want to read the files from a database, there are DB SQL3 is what the library you have to use. I will show you that thing also. Uh, like database tables to pandas. Okay, official documentation only, it is always good to go for. Here you can see pandas official documentation here. Of course it makes you confused, but try to catch as many important points out of the official documentation, then only go for third party sites, because official thing is what very important. If you are not feeling very interesting the content here in official documentation, yes, then you can go for the trustable. Something like Scalar, Greeks for Greeks is what something like trustable. And even Microsoft, it is also a good thing to learn. Okay, and my suggestion is don't blindly follow unnecessary, recommended blogs, because that may mislead you. That is the important thing I just wanted to cover. Here you can see connector. I just told you, right? You just need to know the cursor, sorry, server name, and then database name, username, password, and then this is the what connect. This is what connector. I'm just saying connector. You should connect that SQL server and database and all. Once you connect that, then cursor you can call the object and use, and query you can mention the query, and you just need to do the read underscore SQL function, pass the query and the connector. This is what the connection. Okay. So this is connector. Okay. The variable to it is connection. Okay. So you just need to pass the connection. That's it. Is this point clear? How to, how exactly you can use the database table to read here? Since we don't have any database support, or I don't have any database, that is why I cannot show you practically. But this is the exact function you can use, to read the data from database using Python. Is this point clear? May I know the quick confirmation? Is this point clear? Very good, Mushraf. Thank you. Okay, Prajwal and Ranjit, what about you? Is this clear? Very good, very good,
Yes, Yashwant.
very good. Okay, very good. See, this is what you have to remember. Okay, so same way, whatever the data is, so you need to know what exact useful function in Pandas is there to read the data. Okay, you just need to follow the same steps. That is the reason why I mentioned you. If you remember, in the first class, I mentioned one point. Python is not very much important in data science, because Python anyway is available in official documentations here. Here we did not use any logic here. We just copied and just going to rename the servers, username, password, and all. Just the syntax itself is enough to get the information. Then why Python, Ashwan? Once we have the required information ready, then we can use the logic there. Okay, so it is not very important skill, but of course it is a mandatory skill. There are two things are there. Okay, that is the reason. Okay, first part is covered, reading the data. Second part is exploration. Exploration means, for in as a part of exploration, what are the common functions? Note this point. What are the common functions are actually being used in pandas? Are first thing is head. Head is nothing but by default first five rows will be provided to you. If you use this function df.head, then you will get five rows by default. So if you mention any number inside head, then that many first rows will be given. For example, 10 I have provided, then first 10 rows. Then what information I will get, Ashwant, out of this is you will get what are the columns are there. Okay. In every column, how the data is arranged. Is this clear? How the data is arranged. So for example, this data is floating, this data is integer, this data is float again, float again, float. And the values are something like this. Cylinders values are something like this, something like this. This is what head will provide you a quick information as a part of exploration. Similarly, we have tail. Tail, what it will do, it will provide you the last five default rows with columns. For example, if you mention similarly here 8 or 9, so then last 9, so that you will get row starts from 0 to 397. That means how many rows are there? 398 rows are there. And how many columns are there? You can count. But it is sometimes difficult to count the rows and columns, right? For that purpose, we have shape. Okay. What is shape? That simply will provide you the number of rows and number of columns in a tuple. See, some people are making mistakes here. They may pass the shape like this. Then you will get an error. Remember, shape is not a function. Shape is an attribute. If you know the object-oriented programming basics, in that object-oriented programming, first we define the class. After that, we mention some instance variables, right? So that is what one of them is what shape. Okay, let us consider like that. And functions is also called as in Java methods. This describe is a method. What is this? Tail is a method, but this shape is just a attribute. Okay. So one more very important uh, thing in exploration is describe. If I run this describe, what will I get? Here observe that before describe, I just wanted to cover this one, info, then I will cover describe. Okay. Info is nothing but information. What information it will provide? Carefully observe. There are three types of information it will provide you. First thing is column. Second thing is non-null value count. And then D type. D type stands for data type. First thing is mileage. Column name. These are all column names. Okay, how many columns are there? 0 to 8 stands for 9 columns are there. How many how many columns are there? 9. Is the number matching? Yes, the number is matching. How many rows are there? 398 rows are there. Here, what is the second column is explaining us? 398 non-null is there. Non-null means the data is not having any null value is called non-null value. That means there are 398 rows. Out in mileage column, there is no value as null. What is null? Null is nothing but a vacant. Okay, vacant data is also called as null. Okay, Catching me తర్వాత. Huh? Is okay. Null is nothing but a vacant data. If any row is vacant in the entire column, that is called as null. Okay. So null values actually comes, you know, for example, you are surveying the information from the people. You are going to the everyone and you are asking the information. Let me consider a small example. Like you are taking the information. You went to one house, knock knock, and a person came and you asked what is the age, what is the profession, what is the area of interest and all. For example, if anybody told you the area of interested was unknown, okay, for example, anybody denied answer you to the question of area of interest, then what will you do? You collect the other information of the person, but you make the uh, uh, you know uh, the this information like area of interest information as vacant. That is what a null value. In the same way, data sets will have null values sometimes. Okay, it doesn't mean that every data is fully organized and fully. As a data scientist, you will face many such challenges actually. You have to answer them effectively. Okay, here you count 398 non-null values are there. Here actually there are 398 rows are there. So that means there is no null value. Now take your time and identify which column is having null values. Can anybody? Quickly.
Horsepower.
Very good. How many null values are there? Do you think?
Uh, there are like six null values.
Very good. So this info will help us quickly which column is actually having null values and what exactly is the column. Okay, we are having null value. And this is also very important, folks. This is D type. How this will help you is your head function, tail function, you can see how the data was arranged. You have to cross map with the info. Sometimes what will happen is, so let me show you. Mileage here it is saying float 64. 64 is nothing but bits, okay? We having 32 bit, 64 bit, right? So same way 64 bit. 64 is not very important to focus much on. Only focus on float int. Object is also called as, here object is nothing but string. Okay, so in pandas object is referred as a string. Okay, don't confuse. So now go and check it whether mileage is actually float or not. Yes, it is float. Done. Cylinders is integers. Yes, it is integers. And horsepower, displacement, everything you have to cross check whether the exact data type is there or not. Why do we require this? Sometimes the user or data engineers who are collecting the data and organizing, they may mistakenly can store the data in strings. For example, they are by mistake, they store the mileage as a string. Still we can see them in numbers, right? By looking at the data we can still see the number, but when we are doing any operation or when we are doing any data fetching, there we will get errors because we will try to fetch the data as float, but we will be getting an error because later on if we debug this, then we will get to know the data was actually stored in string. To avoid such things in further, info will help us in what exact way it was stored. Got it? If it is stored in, for example, instead of float, if it is stored as an object, I already told you object is nothing but a string, then you need to perform third step, that is operation. You have to do one operation. That operation will have to convert the string to float because mileage should always be in float, right? Because mileage can give you answers in like it can give you like 34.5 per liter. It can tell you like in meters also, not always the kilometers. It can also explain you the information in meters. Then it should be in float. Then you have to convert the string to the float. Understand the concept, right? So that is the reason the third column will help us. So overall, this will help us. And one more thing here itself, it is very clearly mentioned. Data columns are 9 columns are there. Data range index. What is index? Anybody quickly? Index refers to
So, how many rows? Sorry, how many
exactly.
rows are
Exactly. Remember, folks, index is also called as rows in data science, okay, or in data analysis at least. Okay, index means rows. Rows are from there are total 398, ranging from 0 to 397. So it is a quick information. Info is all about quick information. And let me show you one more useful function. That is what, as a part of exploration, that is what counting null values. Counting null values. If your job is only counting null values, not to get the information, then you can use this function. Is na, is na is nothing but null value. Is there any null value? That is what the meaning out of is na. We are asking, is there any null value? Then it will provide you true falses only. If you print this one, it will provide you true falses only. No, there is no null value with me, something like that. When where horsepower actually null values are there, but where exactly the which row is exactly null value, that row only will show it as true. Otherwise, it is false. See here, there are totally 398 rows are there, but according to the website building, this particular width only they provided. Okay, this much width only to provided the data set. That is the reason if you print directly the data set, then first 5 rows will be visible and last 5 rows will be visible, and in between is indicated by dot 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 dot. Is that clear why it is referring like this? Because the window size of the particular cell is this much only. Anything can be covered only this much. That is the reason. Got it? So it has some limits. That is why it will show always like that. But out of first 5 rows and last 5 rows of horsepower, there is no null value. It is somewhere it is existing. So how to get that count properly? Then use the sum operator. Then you will get which column exactly is having null value and what is that column. Got it? This is the way how to do exploration. And one more last important function. It is not actually the last. There are many explorative functions of pandas. You have to explore whenever you get the free time. Then describe. Describe, what is that? Description. Okay. It will describe and it will summarize the thing. Describe is always called as summarize. Okay. Here you can see a quick summary. But remember, summary can only happen with numbers. That means numbers means either integer or float. It will only select the columns which are integers and floats. It will skip the columns which are objects. Objects are also called a string data type. So this will be skipped. Only from mileage to model year is considered. And out of this, what it will is doing, it is coming up with count, it is coming up with mean, standard deviation, minimum 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile max. Okay, so you can see that how many values are there in horsepower, sorry, mileage 398. How many values are there in horsepower? You can see 392 because remaining 6 values are vacant. That's why I did not count it. Got it? In this way, count can become, and mean. Mean is nothing but average. You know, right? Average, how exactly it calculated? Sum of all values divided by total. Okay, what is the average mileage is there? What is the standard deviation? You might have heard about the term called variance, standard deviation. Don't worry, I will explain you the real meaning of standard deviation. Why do we require to calculate standard deviation? Yeah, any doubt in between? Any doubt? Okay, got it. Okay. If you have any doubt, yeah, don't hesitate. You please let me know. I will stop and will explain your doubt. Okay. So count a minimum anyway. You knew that no need to explain much. It will explain you out of the data points arrangement. What is the minimum value? Similarly, maximum value. What is the maximum value? And 25 percentile is nothing but the spread of the data. The 25 percentile the data. How much that the 25 percentile of the data is? How much the half percentile of the data? Half percentile of the data is also called as median. You know, right? Median means middle. So 75% is a 25 plus 50 is what 75. Okay. So in that way, we will get the information. Got it? So, and then maximum value. So this is how describe function will help us to get the information, summary of the entire data set. This summary will help us to do analysis. Okay. What type of analysis, Ashwant? I will explain you. The once I explain the mathematical key terms, then I will explain how this describe will help us. But not right now. I have to cover operations and all. Later, I will come back to the mathematics and then I will explain you uh, what is the importance of this describe. This describe function is actually uh, very important. We should consider in every domain. We should know whether the data is accurately uh, coming or is there any unwanted data. That depends on domain knowledge also. For example, let me give you a small example why domain knowledge is very, very important. For example, if you are buying a car or any bike, anything, whatever it may be, a two-wheeler or four-wheeler, any brand, so you will get the basic information out of it. You will get the basic information out of it, right? So, for example, what is the mileage of the car? Okay. So how many cylinders are there in the car? This information anyway you know. But when people are collecting the data means the data engineers are collecting the data and providing to you, right? When the data engineers are entering the data into the records, instead of like for 398.2, they forgot to click on point directly. They provided 398 and 2 without any point. Then 3982 it will become. So there is a big difference between 3982 and 398.2. Correct? So nearly how much it added? 10 times, if I'm not wrong. Okay. So domain knowledge will actually help you to check such type of data is there anything because you know the range of the weight or range of the horsepower of a company can always between 46 to 230, let us consider. Okay, but you got as 2000 something like earlier I mentioned you 3982, right? 3982. So in that point of thing, you will directly identify this was misguided or this is unwanted information. I can correct it accurately. Okay. So it may be mistake of by entering. This is called typo errors. This may be a typo error. I should correct it. So how will you get to know such things? Only because of describe. In describe, you will can see the minimum value and you can see the maximum value. Maximum 46 mileage. Is it so? So anything, any car it will give 46 mileage. I'm doubting myself. So I will go and check the research. Which cars can provide 46 mileage and will cross check the data with that car. Is it matching? If so, yes, we'll keep it. If not, we'll remove that. We will consider that as an outlier. Outlier means something it is out of the box, out of the actual thing, is what outlier. We will consider that as an outlier. So all such things will get us will let us know all those things from describe function. Is this clear why domain knowledge plays a crucial role in doing data analysis? We have to match the original things, or we have to match with the theory or with the to the practical thing. Okay. So going forward, we can move ahead to operations. Okay. Okay. So exploration is done. Now the step two, I will call here as step two. Step two, that is operation. Step two is done, right? Step three, applying operations on data sets. Okay, this is step three. applying. Applying. Is it spelling right? If wrong, please let me know.
Lying.
Yeah, correct. Something is missing. Yeah, applying. Correct. Thanks. Okay. So some functions we will use from now to do some operations on the data sets. Okay. First operation is obviously we identified that there are null values are there. Then having a null value inside our data set will not going to help us for upcoming machine learning perspective. Why, Yashwant? Why it will not help us? So why we need to do some operations on the data? Why we need to change something in the data set? Let me tell you very simple example. I already told you in the first day of my class. AI is simply it is replica of human. Correct? A replica of human. AI, how exactly AI built is they inspired from human beings. They first analyzed how human beings are doing things, and then they just followed it doing with machine providing the data sets. For example, if someone told you there is no for example, what is called, what can I consider here? Okay, for example, someone told you lion is the national animal of India. Let us consider a small example. Someone told you lion is a national animal of India. Then you remember that thing only and you go and answer the same thing in the examination. You will be given -1 mark because lion is not the one, tiger is the one. But somebody told you wrongly, somebody fed the wrong data to you. You remembered that only and considered that and answered the wrong thing. Similarly, in the data set also, if there is any wrong data, if we don't identify it priorly, then the same thing will be given to the data, will be given to the machine, and we will ultimately end up with ending up with wrong results or wrong predictions. That is why we have to do some operations to make it correct. One such operation is dropping the null values. We can do two things here. One is replace the null value with useful information. The second thing is, drop the null value. Drop the null value simply like how many rows are having null values? 6 rows are there. Those 6 rows will be removed. Then how many rows will be left in every column? 392 only. That means let us consider this is the data set. Okay, this is the data set. And in this data set, for example, this is null, the highlighted one. Okay, the highlighted one. Cannot this data frame with the attractor table. Okay, okay. So the highlighted one is a null value. Dropping means dropping means what exact it will do is, so it will remove the entire row where exactly null value is there, right? Then only it is making sense. Correct. So I cannot remove dynamically only one value. I can make the other values of other columns as it is, right? Dropping means simply I have to remove the entire row. So here 6 rows are null values from horsepower, but ultimately we are also losing the equivalent respect to values from other columns also, isn't it? Will you agree with me? Will you agree with me? Hello? Is dropping is clear? What exactly drop will do? Okay, I'm not seeing your reaction maybe.
Oh,
Okay, I can consider it as yes. If not, please let me know. Uh, Dropping means simply it will remove. Yeah, someone. Okay, no one.
Nothing is. I just
Okay,
typed
okay.
it.
Is it clear? Clear, Prajwal?
Yes, it is taking off the null values, right?
Yeah, it is taking
Of
off the null values. Along with that, it is also taking off the some useful information from other columns also. Okay, in that situation, how to deal? See,
yes,
now remember the rule of thumb formula. Rule of thumb formula means it is not the actual formula, but most of the data scientists will follow that formula. If your null value count is less than 10% out of your entire data set, see, out of our entire data set, it means we are having 398 rows are there. Out of 398 rows, what is the percentage of 6? You can calculate. Okay, it is obviously will be less than 10. 10% of 398 means it will be around 39 if I'm not wrong. So we are
that's
having 6, right? 39 only, right?
correct.
10%.
39 only.
Yeah. Then
Yeah,
6 is way less than 39. That means maybe 1 or 5 for less than 5. It is even less than 5. That means we can go for dropping. It doesn't make a big impact even if we drop the null values. If you are ever experiencing your null value count is more than 10% of your entire data set, then don't go for dropping. Instead, you replace the null value with useful information. How to do dropping and how to replace that? See, you can see one function called drop na. Drop na stands for null value. Earlier we saw is na means is there any null value? Na stands for null value. So here drop na means simply it will go and search where exactly drop is there. I mean where exactly null value is there, and then simply it will drop. What is this in place equal to true, Yashwant? This is very important, folks, to remember all the time in your pandas. In place is nothing but permanent operation. Permanent operation. What do you mean? Here, if I don't use this in place equal to true, if I run this cell, this operation will only work for this cell only. It will not work for remaining things. For example, here I will apply this thing and I will go and check with info till it is showing me 398 rows only. Got it? Because it only did here itself. Sometimes we require an analysis. We require whether the function is correctly working or not. We require to it for this particular cell only. But if we want to make it dynamic and apply to all the cells, then don't forget to include this in place equal to true. Then it will consider wherever the data frame is there, df, it will make changes everywhere. Here you can see now the updated one. There are only 398 rows only. Got it? Is that clear? Now you can see the sum of the null values also. There are nothing. Okay. Now I will explain you. Dropping is clear. Then how to fill it? It is very, very easy. Use the function called fill now. Okay, see here you can see fill now. Instead of 0, whatever the value that you want to fill. Okay, whatever the value that you want to fill. If you want to fill 0, then you can go for 0. If you want to fill mean value of horsepower, then np dot mean of horsepower, mean of data frame of horsepower. I already explained you the last class. Okay, how to select the single column, how to select the multiple columns. Okay, if you forget that concept, remember now. You can remember it now. If you want to extract one column only, then you have to use one square bracket and you can call whatever the column that you want. For example, df of horsepower, there you go all the row values of particular column. If you want to select multiple columns, then make sure you should pass in multi-dimension like this. For example, MPG. Okay. Now you can see more than one column is got selected. Okay. In the same way, now I'm having only one column I want where I have to go for mean. This is the way how you can apply wherever there is null value, you can fill that null value. Usually, filling the null values follow three strategies. Usually, that is again rule of thumb. If you know the domain knowledge, you have to answer what exact value I can fill wherever null value is there. How will I get to know Yashwant, to filling the null value? Means, for example, if you belong to healthcare domain, you know, right? If there is a BMI section is there, but that section is vacant. But you know that BMI can come if we have height and weight, right? Height by weight or weight by height. Some formulation is there to get the BMI result. So even if BMI is vacant for some person, of course we know the domain. We will do the division of this thing and we will replace that null value with the BMI value, calculated BMI value. Similarly, there might be a formulation if insulin is not provided by the user or by the patient, then insulin can calculate according to the age and according to the estimated value can come, right? That estimated value you can use the formula and you can replace that with the null value. So this is the way how you can impute the null values. This is called imputation concept. Imputation means simply implying to the null, I mean wherever the null value is there, I mean making some operation on top of null value. Okay. So for which operation you learned is first operation is removing the null value or adding the null value. Going further, I will just provide you an example for reference. Example of filling null value. Filling null value. So df dot see, already it provided an example. Okay, this is an example only. Okay, so filling null value means fill now function you should use. Okay, so this just now we covered how to get the information. If you want to get the information as a single dimension, there you go. Here in single dimension, you can go for only one particular cell. There you will get the single dimension. If you want even one column also, but you want it as a double dimension, then don't forget to provide the information in two square brackets where you can get the information in two-dimensional data. Okay, and by looking, it doesn't make any big difference between single dimension and double dimension. But here you will get the shape. If you go for shape, dot shape, shape, shape. There you can see it is having two dimension. But here you will see shape shape. There you can see it is having one dimension only. See, you can see it is not showing the second dimension. Is it clear the difference between the single bracket of calling and double bracket of calling? Okay. So here you can go like a double dimension, like where we are passing multiple columns and into the two square brackets and calling the columns. And head is already covered. Head we use regularly to just to know that okay how many columns are there, okay how exactly they arranged. Accordingly we write some functions, right? That is why sometimes in the middle also you can see head is being called multiple times because it is a quick check of having data. Okay, with us. Then one important function is, for example, if you want to convert any one of your columns to the rows. Okay, I told you right in series creation instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 we can even provide custom rows. Custom rows means custom index. In data analysis, don't forget index is also called as rows. In order to do that, I wanted to instead of 0, I wanted to convert my these column values as my row values. Then don't forget the function name is set underscore index. Set underscore index. Here what I'm doing is I'm just considering a small data set because I don't want to convert the entire data set. I don't want to disturb it. But for example purpose, for use case purpose, I'm just considering, see, the first 5 rows as another data set called df head. The df head, I'm just setting the index. Which index I wanted to go for it is name. Name column I wanted to convert as a index. Then in place equal to true, I already told you what is the importance of it. And then just printing this, there you go. This is the head function, head data. This data set, there is name is there. I just passed the name to convert this data set like into the this data set. Now you can see there are only 8 columns are there. There is no column called name. Instead, that column got converted as a rows. That row has again name as name. Don't confuse that. These are all index name. This is okay. These are all columns. This is now onwards, it is not a column, it is row. Got it? So if you are interested, like if you want to make some changes like that, you can go for it. Now, if you have any question like, for example, Ashwan, if we have any row like this, but if we want to convert back to the column, then what we have to do? Then instead of set index, you have to use reset underscore index. Is it clear? Set underscore index will help you to convert a column to the row. Reset underscore index will help you to convert back the column to the row. Sorry, column, row to the column. Any doubt?
Yashwant, we can also use like melt, right, for directly converting the columns into the rows.
Okay, very good point. Melt actually helps us, pivoting, right? You heard about pivoting. Melt
Yeah.
exactly opposite to the pivoting. Okay. There also we go for ulta.
Pivoting means like rows to column, right?
No, no, no.
Instead of using.
Pivot is simply like a group by.
Okay.
Pivot is simply like a alternate function for group by. Okay, I will show you the example. Pivot table. Anyway, that is also one of the functions going forward. Create a pivot table. So in order to convert the pivot table back to the original format, there we use melt. Melt and pivot are opposite to each other. So pivot table actually will conclude the information with useful aggregative functions. This is simply like our group by. Okay. So I will, okay. Anyway, once group by concept came there, I will explain you the reasons. I can understand that you might have observed that the same way the rows getting converted to the column back. Uh, but that is have done on aggregative way. This is in general. A row is just we are keeping it as a column, or we are just keeping a column to the row. There we use either set index or reset underscore index. Don't confuse. Set index means it will convert a complete column to the row. Reset underscore will help you complete row into the column back. Okay. And whatever our teammate mentioned, melt and pivot. Melt and pivot. See, you can see melt and pivot. Those two are opposite to each other. Those two are reshaping the things. Okay, they actually do uh, you know uh, they actually do reshape the things. Unpivot, you can see unpivot a y, unpivoted data frame is what melt do. Okay, pivot actually will do the group, it is actually do the group with one or more discrete categories. Within one or more discrete categories, pivot will do, it will actually unpivot the y. Of course, we can use also melt it for in general, we can use melt also to convert back to the column to something like that. But regularly, we don't use it for setting the columns to rows and rows to the columns. Okay, it is actually for another use case. Is that clear, Gauri Priya or Shamrin? Who pointed out?
Yes,
Shamrin.
yes.
Yeah, clear. Yeah, good thing you mentioned melt. Yeah, so that I will cover melt also. Okay. Going forward, so very two important functions are there. Always people are confusing between ilock and lock. Okay, what is this ilock? Ilock will actually useful to fetch the data based on indexes. For example, now tell me. So I will highlight one point, 150.0. Now tell me what is the row index and what is the column index? Quickly.
2 comma 3.
Very good. Uh, so 2 is the row index. Very good. And 0, 1, 2, 3. Yes, it is 2 comma 3. Correct. In the same way, in iLog, we have to provide such things. Okay, 2 comma 3. So in iLog, I stands for index. Okay. So in iLog, we can go for like that. Okay. So that we will fetch the data based on the indexes. Okay, so -1, right? Indexing also can start from -1, the last one. This is what -1 of columns. And I just wanted to explore second row, but the last column. Okay, that is what. And similarly, slicing. Slicing, I already explained you in NumPy how to slice. For example, this data, this only 350, 165, 36. This data I wanted to extract. Then mention that this is first column, first row. Okay, and columns are involved here 0, 1, 2. Yeah, 2, 3, 4. But I have to give 2, 3, 2 is to 5. Right? In that way, you can provide an iLog to fetch the useful information out of the index value. So why this is important, Ashwant? For example, if your stakeholder is asking some information like what are the first 5 values of first 5 columns, okay, first 5 values of first 5 columns, then you can provide df.ilog and you can mention first 5 rows and first 5 columns. Then you will get that information only. That is a data extraction. There we use ilog. Then what is lock? Lock stands for locator. Locator can help in two ways. One is to extract the data based on instead of indexes, we use here direct data names. Okay, and lock is also helpful for us to extract the data based on condition. See, you have to do lot of practice on lock, using lock, because this is very important function in pandas. In pandas especially, there are very few functions which are very important. There are actually more functions than NumPy. If you explore the documentation, for suppose if you explore the documentation, there are many functions are there than pandas. Sorry, NumPy. NumPy is very small library, but Pandas is, I can say, double the NumPy. But out of those many, we actually use, very few important. Out of very few, lock is one. Okay. Of course, what are the important and most widely using library functions? I already provided in this documentation. Don't worry. But lock is rates more because it can either help us to extract the data based on data point, and also it can help you to fetch the data based on a condition. I will show you both the use cases, then you will understand completely. Okay, so in order to show you the example with the help of log to extract the data, I just consider the same thing like data head is nothing but we are just considering the first 5 rows and we just convert the name to the row, right? That data set we used here to fetch the data based on data points. Earlier in iLog, what my point is, earlier we used indexes to fetch the data, right? Now instead of indexes, what I'm using directly the data point name. Okay, what is the data point name here? Something like Buick Skylark 322. I want ARM Rebel SST. From here to here I want. And columns I did not mention any specifically. That is why all columns got selected. Got it? Similarly, for example, in the real data set, remember, in the real data set, the indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3, like this. Then what are the index names? 0, 0 to 5, for example. Okay, I want 0 to 5. There you can directly provide 0 to 5. Remember now, earlier we used one strategy, right? Starting index and ending index plus 1. But in lock, that will not work because here we are not using indexing concept. We are extracting the data based on data point name or index name. The index name is 0 here. It is not the index number of it. It is itself is index 0. You observe this example with this example. Here this example index name is something different. Here index name is 0, that is why we are getting 0 to 5 directly. And columns also I explicitly mentioned like this. If you want only rows, this is the way. If you want also columns, make sure you should pass that inside a list. Got it? Is this point clear? I just need a confirmation, because if you get clear using lock to extract the data, then remaining functions will not be confusing. Can I get a quick confirmation from the folks? Okay, Mushraf is saying good. Then what about Samreen and Prajwal? Is that clear? Good. Samreen, Prajwal, hope it is also clear. Yes. Thank you, Prajwal. Good. So it is very important, folks. First, you can take your time to revise it, and also take your time to explore yourself. Okay, and change the numbers, and try whether you are getting the uh, like desired output out of it. Okay. So another operation is we have to add a new column sometimes. Okay. Sometimes the data set is given like this, but it is sometimes required to add one more column to ease our analysis. Let me consider a use case here. In our data set, healthcare data set, age is there, height is there, weight is there, and everything is there. But BMI is not there. So, based on BMI, many scientific calculations are made, and based on BMI, many suggestions are there. If we want to have BMI, we know that formulation how to obtain BMI, height by weight, but we don't have that as an external column. Sometimes in that situations we have to add one more column to do better analysis, right? In that case, how to do? Let us consider this is the data set, and you want to add a total as a new column where you are going to sum all the things. Okay, here you go. Here, remember that whatever the data frame name is there, you have to use the data frame name, and use the new column name like this. Pass, because this is a single dimension data you are going to write, right? You only adding one column, right? That is why one square bracket, and inside that whatever the name of the column you can pass it. And then how exactly you want the new column? I want my new column to sum all the these columns, like some chemistry, physics, mathematics, and English. It will do the array one-on-one operation. If you pass it like this, it will do 67 plus 45 plus 50 plus 19 will give you 181, like that. Or else, Ashwant, I wanted an efficient way. This is a messy thing. Here, of course, it is having 4 columns. You have directly written here. But what if I have 100 columns? Is this the same way I have to write? No, people. You can go for lambda functions. Okay, I already explained you the lambda functions. And lambda, you create a lambda. Okay, you can create a lambda. You can take one column and return what you can return is x plus whatever you want. Okay, or else x plus y, or x plus anything, whatever you want, in what way you want the addition. Okay, you define the thing, and then you just pass it to the existing one. Okay, so that is the way. And sometimes what we also can experience is sometimes uh, we do have an existed data frame. We don't require any one of the columns. For example, you will be given a data set. In the data set, you understand that you identified that one column is not important to do analysis. Last day I asked you one simple question: which column you feel is not very important to do analysis? Now tell me which column is not very important.
Name column.
Very good, because it will not add much value to do analysis on the current data. If I have price, of course, then name column also makes a lot of difference. But now name column is not important. Such times, okay, if you want to remove or drop any one of the columns, existing columns permanently, then in place equal to true, of course. But if you want to drop, then you have to use drop. Remember that drop na is for dropping the null values. Drop is nothing but dropping the individual columns in a data frame. Okay, you can use the drop. Inside that, you can mention the column name and then pass it. If you don't mention columns so equal to total, then you have to mention axis. For example, let me show you. I don't use in place equal to true, and I will show you, because here some people are making mistakes. That is why I just wanted to let you know. Here column I just clearly mentioned as columns is equal to total. That is why I did not get any error. For example, if you forgot to mention like this, then you will get an error. Okay, key error. In that, key error can be removed. Either you can use columns is equal to, or you see here you can see the AI automatically completed my code. Access is equal to 1. What is this access, H1? If you want to perform any row operation if you are performing, then access will be 0. If you are performing column operations, you have to mention the access as 1. Got it? Access defines the operation, which operation that you are performing. If you want to remove any rows, for example, Subodh is not performing good. Okay, you want to remove his data out of the records, then you can mention Subodh here and mention access is equal to 0. Okay, so that it will go and check first of all access. It will go and check first of all access. It will go and check first of all access is equal to 1. Okay, I have to operate only on columns. Then search will search for total. Is there any total mentioned here? Yes, it is. Then drop it. If there is in place equal to true, then okay, I have to do it for permanent. Is that clear? Okay, dropping and adding a new column, is that clear? This is also important function. That is why I'm asking 2 times.
Yeah, it's Ashwant.
Very good, very good. I hope everyone is clear. Next, dropping and adding is clear means one more very important. I told you, right? Lock. Lock can be used for two things. One is to extract the data, and very importantly, lock is used for to fetch the data based on conditions. Okay, so based on conditions means in SQL, if you know about SQL, in SQL, okay, 1 second, somebody has joined maybe.
Oh,
Prajwal. Yeah, what is the doubt, Prajwal? Go ahead.
uh, I don't have any doubt, but have some work. I need to leave this
Yeah, yeah,
meeting now.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. But Prajwal, like just to keep 5 minutes. I mean, stay 5 minutes and then leave, because if one lock function is clear to you, then it will be good to you, because this is very important topic. It will not take more than 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay, okay. Yes, sure.
Because as you mentioned earlier to me, you was not having much experience of SQL, right? If you have SQL,
Yes.
it will not be a very difficult topic. If you don't know SQL means you should learn this technique. 5 minutes only. Now the time is 21:33 my time. Exactly 21:36 you can leave. Not even 5 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, got it? Okay. Here, for example, this is your data set df dot head. This is your data set. Somebody asked you to extract the data where cylinders equal to 8 only. Okay, so our origin is equal to USA. Earlier we saw that one column, if we go and apply the filter, okay, we can see how many unique values are there in that column. There are 3 unique values are there in the column: Europe, Japan, and USA. But suddenly a stakeholder came and asked you, I want the information about only Japan. Then how can you do? We have to apply a condition here, right? Where origin is equal to Japan, correct? That type of conditions, how can we do is, first let me debug the thing and then we'll club it to show you. In that case, first of all, you identify which column is having the condition. The column what we are, I mean, on where we have to apply the condition. We have to apply the condition on origin. Then how to select the origin, first of all, this is the way, okay, origin. This is the way how I can select the origin column. And then what is the condition? I wanted to check with Japan. Japan. Okay. So if you go and click here, you will get only true, false, true, false, true, false. Okay. So this condition, if you pass it, okay, if you pass it, Control X, and if you pass it here, like this inside lock function, just pass the condition here, then you go and check it, you will get every column. Okay. Especially origin will be Japan. Okay, when origin is equal to Japan, whatever the remaining selected information is there, that will be given to you. Here you can see 79 rows are there. That means 79 values are having Japan. Got it? And here, if you want every column to get selected, then don't mention anything, just provide the information. If you want specific columns only to be selected, then mention that specific columns. If you want only one column to be selected, then mention that one column in single dimension. For example, you want to know when origin equal to Japan, what are the values of mileage? Then you can go for it. Only mileage value will be given. It is single dimension. For suppose if you want you know, to showcase origin plus mileage, then it is multi-dimension, right? Multi-dimension means I told you how to pass. Then mileage, comma, origin, ORIGN, okay, origin. In that case, the condition is applied Japan only, and also you are getting the remaining, I mean, whatever the desired columns you want. Now, is this clear, Prajwal?
Yes, it is clear, Yashwant. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So now exactly that time, 21:36, as I
Yes.
promised. Now you can leave if you have an urgent work and
Yeah.
refer the
Thank you, Yashwant.
documentation later. Yeah. Good.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye. Yeah. So remaining people, three people left. So remaining people, is it clear so far?
Yes, Ashwant.
Good. Good. Okay. So as you already mentioned me, you have an SQL knowledge. Now tell me, so what is the query of this? What is the query I can write here to get this information? The table name is DF. Okay.
I think select star from
Very
DF
good. Very good.
model equal to 72.
You were wrong. Where you should also use where model year equal to 72. Okay. Got it?
Yeah, I said like where model.
Acha, acha, I did not hear. Sorry. If you mentioned, it's good. Okay. So where model year is equal to 72. Exactly. You are right, Mushtaf. I hope it is also clear with you, both Samreen and Gauri, right? Uh, I hope it is. Yeah, good. So, for example, then if I mention like this, horse power, power, comma, and here I will also select ORIGIN. Now, tell me either Mushraf or Samreen, anyone who is interested. So, what can be the SQL query here I can use?
So you want to use all the columns.
No, I only selected two.
So then it's a select horsepower origin from table DF where model year equal to 72.
Very good, Mushtaf. That is the point. Okay, if you know SQL means it is very easy to you to do the analysis in Pandas. But doesn't mean that you should know SQL. Of course, if you don't know, you can also, if you understand the concept, it will help you to get the useful information out of the data based on the condition, based on the stakeholders condition. So here, the stakeholder can ask you any question. You have to know what ways we can use to extract that useful information out of the data sets. For example, stakeholder is having a question. I want the data set, I want the data points where the origin should be Japan and the cylinders are six only. How many cars are there? Such combination. Then apply such conditions and remember, if there is any logical operator have to be used in here, you should only use the symbols here in pandas. But in general Python, you have to use and, or, not, not English way. But here in pandas, we should only use the symbols. Okay, ampersand and or means vertical bar and not means exclamatory symbol. Right? This is the way how we can use multiple conditions and check. Okay, here I'm having again one more check. Mileage should be 29 and above, sorry, above 29. Horsepower should be less than 93 and weight should less than 2500. Okay, in this case, why I have to do such analysis means whatever according to the domain knowledge, according to my research and domain knowledge, whatever the car is having these features, that car is can be considered as fuel efficient. Is that clear? These cars are fuel efficient. In this situation, name is also can make a difference. Okay, so so that is why name it is doesn't mean that one column is not at all important and one column is more important. It depends on the situation. Like I mentioned, if price is there, then name should be there. But in general, name is not making any sense. Here also, name is not, doesn't make any big difference. But if you are going to buy a fuel efficient, then see, buy means price. If you are going to buying or making a decision, then name can make a helpful. Got it? There you go. These are the cars which are following these conditions and staying as fuel efficient cars. Simply muscle cars. Muscle itself is considered a weight, right? Weight is greater than 2800 according to the domain, what I researched. And according, if that weight is in between these two, then they are called as muscle powers. Also, horsepower should be this range. Okay, displacement should be given like this. Then these are muscle cars. Okay, there are few muscle cars. All the muscle cars, if you see from USA, this is the key points you should understand. This is the key point. Okay. Wherever you identify key point after your analysis, then take text and write it as a point. My understandings, my understandings, my quick points or my points. Here you note it. All muscle cars, muscle. Okay, spellings I always make mistake. Muscle. Yeah, all muscle cars are from USA. So this is the way how you can make use of these notebooks effectively. There you can write the code, analyze the thing, and then note down all the important things straight away. Okay, there itself. So this is the type of analysis. You can straight away and go and explain the stakeholders. See, stakeholder, all the muscle cars are from USA. Okay, SUV cars are something like horsepower should be 140 and more, and 4,500 weight and plus. Obviously, SUV cars are also bulky and more weighted cars, right? So this is the this is the conditions, and all the SUV cars are also according to our data sets are from USA. That means very less SUV cars, very less luxury being the people are using in Japan or Europe. Okay, USA obviously means they are mad of cars, mad. They whatever the supercar comes to the US, of course they go and buy, no matter how much it is, and they actually look for that. That is the mindset of US people. I know you might have already observed around you. So you can analyze in real time also. With real time also you can compare muscle cars and all. But when it comes to the fuel efficient, you can see the values of Japan and Europe, right? So they actually value for the fuel. They don't want to waste the fuel unnecessary because they are not getting. To be frank, they are not getting that much easily. They are depending on Russia and other countries, but USA don't have the such restrictions because of its nation. So you have to combine the results with domain, with national and international, regional, all such relationships and all we have. You have to combine and answer it very properly. Remember this. If a stakeholder asks you any question on top of data set, you should analyze it properly, research properly, and answer it and properly with correct information. Okay. Here I am just explaining you the reason, because they don't want to they don't want to misuse their fuel. Okay, that is why countries like countries from Europe and Japan uh, are actually value for fuel because they are not getting it for easily. Okay, so but USA don't have such restrictions. They can get it from Saudi or wherever, because it's a big nation. Everybody wanted to maintain a uniform relationship with a healthy relationship with USA. That's why they value for only value more value to the luxury and more safety and speed, such type of things. Okay, race car is one more thing. There you go, race car. Okay, where you wanna know that the acceleration should be greater than 17 and weight should be less, obviously race. Okay, and one more thing here, what I did out of the extracted data, I just used a describe to just to know how many cars are there, something like. If I don't use there you go. Here you can see in race cars, yes, uh, Europe and Japan also invested along with USA. Okay, and sort by. Then one more operation is sort by. If you want to do sorting according to any one of the column data, then you can use sort by. By default, it is ascending data. Okay, if you use another column, another function called ascending is equal to, okay, there you can make changes if you want it to descending. Okay, I now I can give, yeah, here you can see 10 means it will go for descending. Okay, acceleration you see 8.5, this is ascending, but this is descending. You can see the cylinders are descending. Okay, okay, this is the way. And then aggregation means I already explained you what is the meaning of aggregation. Aggregation means you will club the data and make it as a single useful information. For example, minimum, what it will do, it will not talk about all the data points. Instead, it will directly provide you the direct minimum value out of the data collection. Similar to it, max, sum, average, median, all such things will help you like that. Here I used list comprehension. You see, I'm just checking out whether the data points are into either float or int 64. I just wanted to perform. See, here I used if. I just wanted to get the column. Only the columns which are having float and int, I just wanted to get. And then I wanted to apply aggregation of minimum and maximum. Here you are getting minimum and maximum of all the columns. I don't want to apply it for text data, because text data anyway don't have minimum maximum. You will get an error if you don't use this logic. Got it? So list comprehensions anyway on the other day I was covered, so we'll not talk about much, but this is the way how you can club your Python skill with the data analysis. So this type of situations only Python is very useful. Otherwise, this type of thing, Python is not required. You can go to the Pandas library, you use the function called AGG, you go search bar and you function AGG, you will get the result straight away. Okay, for example, pandas dot group by no series no directly dot agg. Yeah, this is the one. You go and see this one. You will get the you will get the syntax, and also if you go down, you will even got the example also. You just can copy this one and come back to here and make the some changes necessarily. So here it is selected the entire data frame. Here we are selecting only one particular column or set of columns. Okay, this is what I just told you. So the Python skill in data analysis is not much important, but Python is actually helpful to make it flexible according to our conditions or according to our use case. And then very important function called group by. Group by is something, if you guys already knew SQL means, I hope you knew about group by, but those who don't know about group by is simply like grouping the data and then applying aggregation on top of it. Okay, so group here, what how to select the group by column is, so make sure that the group by column should be having some unique values. So what are the columns we have now? We have, okay, let me remove the filter option here. Okay, so we have mileage, cylinders, displacement, horsepower, weight, acceleration, model year, and origin name are there. Out of these columns, what are the discrete columns? Discrete columns is also called as which columns are having unique values. That columns are called discrete columns. For example, mileage, if we see and check, this is not a discrete columns, because if I go and apply the filter, it is not defined under certain range. It is keep on distributed with a lot of values, then we cannot consider it as a discrete column. If I go and see cylinders and check the discreteness, then I can see the entire column is spread across some fixed values, means 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. Out of these 5 values, only the entire column is being distributed with fixed number of values, then it is called as discrete column or column with unique values. Anything is same. Okay, so now tell me, I just wanted you to answer, any one of you to answer. What are other than cylinders? What are other columns or discrete columns? Can anybody?
Maybe model year.
Very good answer. And one more column is there actually, if you can identify it.
Like names are also different for each car, but we consider it to remove it, right?
Yeah, yeah. So apart from name, there is one more if you focus.
Yeah, origin also, like it's from the different. We have only three nations: or US, Japan, and Europe.
Exactly, Mushtaf. You are on the right point. Correct. Got it? So these are the three columns as of now are discrete columns or columns with unique values. Then those columns only are eligible to apply a group by function. Okay. So use the group by function. How to use group by function in Pandas is select the data frame and then use the group by operation and then select the column in like this only. Observe how I'm using. Like this, you have to use group by and then one aggregative function. Obviously, we should use aggregate function to summarize it, right? In SQL, what was the query you might have used for group by? Simply select star if you want everything or select aggregative function. Okay, select sum of or count right here. Count of star means counting all the rows. Okay, count of star. Okay, then followed by select count and then followed by from df group by model year. This is the way, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So simply here also df selecting all obviously because we did not specifically mention like this. Okay, so select all, selecting all and group by and mention the which particular year that you want and then aggregate function. Okay, got it? So this is this is the way. Got it? Is that clear, folks? How group by can be applied?
Yes, Ashwin.
Very good. But one thing mistakes can be happen here is observe the data frame. Here we have origin and name as the text data, right? Means object data. But whenever you are applying aggregative function, for example, count doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any mistakes on the text data because count simply key it will count the values, but if you want to use any aggregative function, something like mean or median or any mathematical operations, we cannot imply that mathematical operations on text data. So in that situation, how to solve is select the data frame effectively. For example, let me show you examples. Here I wanted to use origin for uh, you know uh, for group by. Yes, I can use because it is a discrete column. But apart from origin, remove the origin now because I am applying here only. But what about the other columns? Are the other columns are numericals? Then I can go for mean. Otherwise, it will throw me error. That is the reason why first I removed the um, name column, then I applied origin. For example, if you want to apply cylinders on cylinders, make sure that you should use like this. Here you see I am using cylinders and model year only. I am considering only two columns. Okay, then I am using. Okay, if you confuse, let me give you an example. Okay, so for example, I wanted to apply a group by on cylinders. Then make sure that and aggregative function as mean. Make sure that only numerical columns only should be available if we I mean apart from selected column. Okay, but what we have origin is also there, but origin is actually textual data, so don't select it. So like this you can see df of select the data frame. It is multiple data means we should use the multiply. So name. Okay, but we don't want origin because it is having text data, but model year is there and yeah, now no mistake. External space nonsense. Okay, so now I selected date. Name should not be there. Sorry, I selected the MPG. I will MPG model year is there. What is the other? I will select displacement. Select the displacement. I will also select the horsepower. I will also select the horsepower. I will also select weight because these are all the numerical parameters. I can straight away. Okay. Here, this is the selected data set. You can see this is the selected data set. Now I can apply a group by, and cylinders also you can select if you want. Okay. So now this is the data set what we extracted. Now you can apply group by, GROUP group by. Then which column you want to apply group by? Cylinders. Control C and Control V. And what aggregate function you want? Mean. So there you go. Is this point clear? How to apply group by effectively? Is this clear up to now? We still have 5 more minutes. I will cover the remaining topics. Is it clear?
Yes, Yashwant.
Very good, very good. Hope remaining people also it is cleared. Then we can see the remaining things. Uh, we can go for remaining things now. Okay, so you can go through these things. For example, if you want to go for two different aggregative functions in group by, then you can use the AGG function. There you go, minimum and maximum. Selected columns will get two different things. See, minimum you are getting, maximum you are getting. Minimum of displacement, maximum. Likewise, if you can add many also you can add. But how to do that? Before group by, I mean before this one, we just used directly dot group by dot one. But if you want to use multiple, then use AGG function. Okay, you can use AGG function. There you pass in list whatever the aggregative functions you need. Okay. Then remaining operations are very easy. These are combining two different data frames. How can we do? This is the way. How can we do two different data sets? Marks marks A data frame is there. Marks B data frame is there. How can I combine? I can use PD dot concat of this. Remember, folks, concat will give you one on one. Concat is nothing but one on one. One on one means when you can do is if your columns are same of two different data sets but rows are different, then you go for concat. Is this point clear? There is one more way. Here you can see here columns are same. Sorry, columns are different. Okay, but one column is same. You know, right? Foreign key, obviously, you might have knew in SQL, you called it as foreign key is there. Then you might have used merging, right? Merging means joins. You might have used inner join, outer join, left join, right join, outer join. Okay, left outer, left inner. So many joins are there. So joins ka main concept is foreign key we have to identify, right? Yes, if there is a foreign key existing, then we can use merge. Merge is the best one because if we go for concatenation, it will go for one on one. But the group of the second data frame is not available. That is why we are getting a null values. NaIn stands for null value. Okay, and in the first thing, higher date is not there. That is why we are getting null value. Observe this data frame. It is not having higher date. It is not having group. That is why we are getting null values there. Got it? So in order to effectively work on this, so instead of concatenation, we use merge. Merge is also referred as inner. By default, it will go for inner join. You know that inner join means simply it will only consider the common values. It will remove, I mean, intersection of two sets is what inner join, right? That is what merge. Then comes the other functions called cross tab. Cross tab is also called as, see this point very clearly, frequency distribution. Understand now, crosstab requires two columns to be passed. Those two columns should be discrete columns. How many discrete columns we do have? Here I mentioned cylinders, and obviously you mentioned model year and origin. Then crosstab, if you want to use two different columns, you have to use, and those two different columns also should be the discrete columns. So that is why I used model year and one. Okay, once I use cross tab, what is the benefit, Ashwin? That benefit is something like this. The model year will be coming like this. All the model years it will mention, and cylinders is the second column I mentioned, right? All the cylinders discrete values will be given here. It will just count. For example, in model year 70, how many three-cylinder cars are manufactured? Only zero. So for four-cylinder cars are 7, but eight-cylinder cars are 18. So 70 model year, more cars are from eight-cylinder cars, means weighted cars were manufactured. Going down the line, the eight-cylinder cars are getting reduced. If you see 80 to 0, but more four-cylinder cars they invested to manufacture. This is what cross-tab information will help us. Frequency distribution table. Okay, so two more functions left, just 5 minutes because we started late. So it will not require 5 more minutes more than pivot tables. Okay, pivot tables is simply same like group by, but the disadvantage of group by is here if you see group by, so order is not maintained properly. Let me show you group by clearly. Order is not maintained clearly. Displacement is a horsepower, weight, model year. This order can come anyway. For example, it is not alphabetically ordered, right? And also, if you observe group by, you are providing the information and then group by and aggregative function all separately, isn't it? Data frame is separately, and then we are applying group by, and then we are applying mean. Mean means aggregative function, but pivot clubs everything in single function. Let me show you pivot example. Yeah, pivot example. Here you can see in pivot, this is the data frame. Okay, this is the data frame. This is the way to apply pivot. Okay, apply on index, which index that which column that you want, and then column you can mention. And I mean index means we don't have specific index, right? Then we can directly column and then values, or else directly we can like this, but I will show you with an example. It is clear. This is a data set. Let me consider this is a data set. Here what I am doing, index is level 1. Level 1 means this column is I am considering it as index. Okay, how many unique values are there? 1 1 1 and 2 2 2, right? 1 2 only are there. That will consider as itself is a indexes. Got it? And then columns, what columns I wanted to apply further on? I wanted to apply level 2 and level 3. So these are having unique values differently, but the combination if you see 1 and 2 only are the unique values. So 1 when in level 1, at that time what are the values of level 3? Got it? When level 1 is equal to 2, what are the values of level 3? Got it? And values are nothing but the third thing is values. Values is nothing but another column that is also should be discrete. Okay, it will simply explain you that like count or something like that. And here you can see the detailed explanation. Of course, it will makes you confused. Pivot is always confusing. It is a statistical thing. Tomorrow again I will explain. Don't worry. Today I don't have enough time to explain it clearly. It actually takes three different things. One is index, one is columns, one is values. Three things we can pass it here. Accordingly, we will get the pivot table, but it is actually looks like a group by table. Melt is the other function. Anyway, discussion came. That is why I also covered melt. Melt is something like it will unpivot the table. If you have a pivot table, it will do unpivoting the wide range data frame to a long format. Okay. So anyway, don't worry. Those two things I will cover tomorrow again freshly, so that it will be easy to you. And also followed by I will explain data visualization. Okay, using pandas followed by data visualization using matplotlib and cbond and plotly. Okay. So